Chuck Boyd Barrett.
I'm baffled by the Minister's speech, to be honest, and I think the government should be ashamed of themselves, because they've really shown their true colours here. Despite paying lip service to the issue that's at stake, which is the well-being and mental health and safety of children, of young people, of women who are victims of this toxic misogyny, which is not just online, as we discovered, it gets translated into brutal physical reality, will be evidenced in the protests that are taking place up in UCD today. And all of the horrible stuff that the Minister herself acknowledges that is directed at women politicians, the algorithms that are designed to promote self-harm, to promote suicidal ideation, to promote eating disorders, to promote hate and misogyny, hatred against trans people. You go through the list of toxic content, and what the ministers say is, well, yes, there are some harmful aspects to this, but the status quo is what we are doing. We're going to vote down your bill, and we're going to maintain the status quo as if anything is being done about this, when nothing is being done about it, as anybody who cares to go online right now will find out. And you've decided to do nothing. And it's clear what's being prioritised here. The profits of companies who profit from this hateful, despicable material, who make money, and I mean really to make money from promoting suicidal ideation or eating disorders or hate, that's evil. That to me is the definition of evil, what some of these companies are doing. And you have decided to prioritise their profits ahead of the well-being and welfare of young people and children and women. That is shameful. And I have to say, to my mind, there is a direct line between your voting down this bill, your refusal to act against the social media and IT companies, mostly American multinationals, not exclusively though, but mostly American multinationals, and the refusal of the government to impose sanctions over the genocide in Gaza, or to condemn what the US and Israel are doing in Iran and setting the entire Middle East on fire. You won't condemn it for the same reason, because you don't want to upset the US empire. That's it. You don't want to upset these big, obscenely wealthy multinational companies that profit from this sort of divisive, toxic material, or the big military-industrial complex that profits from setting the Middle East on fire, or that profits from allowing and indeed arming and supporting Israel's genocide in Gaza. Profit first, despite the most obscene crimes, the most horrible things being done, turning our world into a very, very dangerous place. We'll prioritise the profits of the people who benefit from all of this. I think that's frankly shameful. And not only, by the way, will we not do anything about it, we'll actually give them money to do it. With research and development tax credits. We'll give them 1.4 billion. We'll give them another 300 billion in the last budget. We'll give them money to research how to do this to our children. That's what we're doing. And I mean, I was at the press briefing of RTE workers yesterday. Who are fighting to defend their jobs and public service broadcasting. And don't get me wrong, I sometimes have problems with the decisions that RTE make, but my God, give me RTE over X and Meta and Google and Facebook any day of the week. Any day of the week. So while they're being dismantled and privatised and their work being outsourced, essentially to be replaced by these guys who profit from pumping this poison at our society and our young people and so on, we'll take the money off public service broadcasting and we'll hand it to these companies, and we won't say boo to them. We won't say boo to them in terms of regulating stuff which the government itself acknowledges is harmful. But we won't do anything about it. That even Commissioner Mann, who you say, oh, they're dealing with it, had recommended turning off these recommender algorithms. Force feeding, because we're not in favour of a ban, by the way. We're not in favour, because children get around a ban. Right? It'll actually make it more attractive. And anybody who knows anything about young people knows that, right? But the young people, by and large, and all the polls show, they don't want this stuff force-fed at them. They want to make their own decisions. Right, so banning it is not the answer. What is about standing up to these guys and not letting them profiteer by force-feeding the poisonous stuff at our young people. And Commissioner Mann was recommending that in the first draft of the Online Safety Code, and then took it out. Why? Because of the lobbying of the companies. And we know that because it's on record that they lobbied about this to take it out. So you just straightforward capitulate to these people because they're profiting from it, and then our society picks up the pieces in terms of our young people's well-being and mental health being assaulted by these toxic algorithms to the detriment of children, of young women, of vulnerable groups in our society, and to generally the detriment of our society in creating a divisive, toxic atmosphere which is getting ever worse. So I really think the government should be ashamed of themselves for doing this, the priorities you've decided on. But like I say, there is a consistency in the government's policies.
Thanks. I mean, there's a gulf between words and actions here, because the Minister says, and I would welcome if it was true, that the government has a relentless commitment to online safety. But that's part of a speech which is justifying why you're going to vote down this bill. And again, I'll repeat, it's very simple, it's very clear, it's an answer to the toxic torrent of material that is being fed to young people in particular. It is the answer that's being called for by a very wide range of organisations and experts who have looked at this issue. And so what it looks like in practice is that the government has a relentless commitment, all right, but that's a commitment to protecting the profits of big tech companies. It's why at a European level they're not standing up against the big tech lobbying operation to further deregulate, to further undermine the levels of protections we have at a European level, and now domestically you're going to vote this down on the spurious basis that, don't worry, we're already dealing with it under the Digital Services Act. I mean, what that means is, you refer to Article 27 of the Digital Services Act, the requirement to mitigate risks, including to minors, requirement that very large platforms must give an option of algorithms that don't rely on profiling. Effectively, this is light touch regulation, and it may as well be self-regulation. The big tech companies can do what they want. And it's very interesting that in the Senior Minister's speech, which we heard earlier, there is a line of argument that is pretty much directly taken from the tech companies' lobbying. So the tech companies' lobbying that resulted in this proposal being taken out of the Online Safety Code, they said, and I quote, "Recommender systems play an important role in ensuring a safe, predictable and trusted online environment by ensuring that users are connected to relevant and high-quality information." The Minister says, "Recommender systems and algorithms serve to protect people, including children and young people, from harmful content." The companies know that's not true. Report from Meta, there was an internal research by Meta which said 64% of all extremist group joins are due to our recommendation tools. Our recommendation systems grow the problem. A 2019 internal Meta document affirmed that content moderation is impossible and the focus should instead be on stopping artificial amplification. The parallels with big tobacco are clear in terms of the harms being done to young people and the fact that these people know all about it, they know the profits that they're making from it. Final point, I mean, the Minister asked a question, this would be, the algorithms are preferable to the unknown risk of switching off those recommender systems. It was bizarre. I mean, listen to Albert Dolan, backbench Fianna Fáil TD, who precisely described what happens if you turn off the algorithm system. We go back to a space whereby our social media feeds are curated by us. We get to choose who we see. We get to see our, the wholesome space of seeing our friends, our community, etc., as opposed to having toxic, misogynistic content being fed to young people in particular.
And that concludes the debate. Thank you, Deputy Murphy. And is é an cheis ná gon éon tíofair an lasú. Is that agreed? That the amendment be made. The question is that the amendment be made. Is that agreed? Not agreed.
No. Sorry.
Agreed.
Agreed.
Deputies in favour say tá. Deputies against say níl.